after you have painted your landscape and it is dry, you need to give it quite a while to dry, or else the paint will end up all over the sewing machine. You will then use a variety of tones and colours to really consider your landscape that you've been given, and to basically add stitch lines and texture all over in as much detail as you can possibly do. I'm giving you an example of one that I've done. However, I'm expecting you to spend a lot longer amount of time on this, so it should theoretically be a lot more detailed and a lot more considered. So please be aware that that is my expectation when we are working on this. When you finish using the machine, please wipe it with a antibacterial blue wipe, because the machines can get a little bit dirty once they've had the paint on them as well. So just wipe down the presser foot and wipe down the area you've been using. After you've done that, you will start adding hand sewn stitches.
So the next thing that you can do, or you can even do this before your machine stitching if you'd like, is opening out these. So this is made up of 6 strands. You need to take 2 of them. You slowly pull them apart like this. Be very careful because they can get in a tangle. So you might need to ask somebody else to give you a hand and hold the end of this. So pull them apart like this. If it obviously gets to a point where it's stopped and it's getting in a knot, don't keep tugging it. It's not going to like actually resolve anything. Slowly pull those apart like that. And then you're going to sew with the 2 strands. So this one's got 4 on, so I'm leaving that to one side for a bit later. And this one, which has got the 2 strands on, I am going to thread onto my needle. Now with that needle, what you are going to do is get that on there, and then you are going to use this thread to sew with and sew in a bit of decoration. Now you might want to do a little bit of a knot at the end, so loop it round, loop it through and give it a pull, and you might want another one just to make sure it doesn't fall through. Again, same thing, make sure it's in the same spot. So if you use this, you can just make sure it goes exactly in the correct point like that. Now the knot should be on the back. Okay, so you might want to end up doing something like this. So I'm going to focus on the tree sections and doing lines for my tree sections. So I might do some fairly large running stitches. I'm going through from the same side what I'm looking at, and I'm adding texture and detail onto this piece of work. Like that. You might want to consider the colours, the tones that you've been using. Again, with the sewing machine, consider the tones that you've been using with those. You can also add stitching along these parts. You could add them along some of these lines that you might have got here. You may have got features that you'd really like to highlight with stitching. You can remember use different tones of stitching. Totally up to you how you present this. But I'm looking for lots and lots of detail, machine stitching, and maybe also some hand stitching. Hand stitching must be included. Machine stitching is optional, so it's up to you which you would prefer to get on with.